So hello friends, today we will start with the chapter regional aspiration. Before start the chapter, I think all of you are well aware of the current CBSE syllabus that has changed, especially in terms of question paper design. So you people should check it, as now the CBSE political science question paper has reduced to 80 marks, and even the weightage of the questions in terms of its marks have also been redefined. So you people should check it before you appear the board exam. Starting with the chapter regional aspiration, let us in a very brief try to understand what is regionalism, because the most of the things start with the regionalism. So regionalism, basically region means an area, and the people, those who live in a particular area or a region, they are also connected by some common custom or some common language or some common belief or some common tradition or some common religion. Whatever may be the factors, it means that the people, those who are connected by some sort of indicators, and as they are connected by some sort of indicators, that particular indicators developed a we feeling among the people, those who lives in a particular area, and that particular we feeling that turned out to be either to be a demand for rule by their own people, or maybe demand for greater autonomy from the union government, or maybe the demand for a separate independent state. So there are different prospects of this regionalism. But yes, starting with the chapter basically implies regional aspiration. So the two words is there, regional and aspiration. The term regional comes from region and aspiration. So region basically means area, and aspiration basically means the demands or desires. So basically from the chapter we can easily trace that meaning is that it's a demands or desires from the different areas. So our main concern will be what kind of demands or the desires that is raised from the different areas. As I said, that this kind of demand or desires from the different areas that led towards regionalism. So basically regionalism means that a kind of we feeling that develop among the people of a particular region who are connected by either custom, tradition, or religion, language, etc. And that we feeling govern, or that we feeling led towards a kind of introspect among the people to either rule by themselves or to get more and more autonomy from the center. This is what is called as regionalism is all about. In one words, we can say that regionalism basically means the different kinds of demands or desires that comes from a particular area can be called as regionalism. In our chapter, we are mainly emphasized on these two things, that region and desires. So basically what is this region talking about the chapter? So here we are mainly emphasizing on four regions, that is Jammu and Kashmir, secondly Punjab, third the southern part of India, and fourthly the northeastern states. So these are the four regions. Now what kind of demands that exist in these particular regions? In the northeastern state, basically there are three kinds of movement is going on. That is demand for autonomy movement, secondly the secessionist movement or the separatist movement, and thirdly demand or the movement against the outsider. Based on this three demand, lots of tension and conflict that went on in the northeastern states, and even still it is going on. In the southern part of India, mainly in the earlier Madras province, now Tamil Nadu, where the Tamil people led by E.V. Ramaswamy Nekar raised the demand against the dominance of north over the southern part of India, both in terms of economy as well as cultural aspect. Thirdly, the tension and conflict in Punjab over the demand of separate Khalistan by the Punjabi speaking Sikh people. And fourthly, the tension and conflict in Jammu and Kashmir over the greater autonomy as well as over the demand for an Azad Kashmir or independent Kashmir. And the sections of people are also there in the Kashmir Valley, were instigated by Pakistan to merge with Pakistan. Basically, they are sponsored by the Pakistan. So these are the four areas of conflict that mainly associated in this chapter. Now, as I said that, now what are the demands? So different kinds of demands are there from the different regions. Number one, demand for autonomy movement. It means that a particular regions that wants more and more autonomy, liberty, freedom from the center, and that autonomy movement mainly led towards creation of a separate state out of an existing state. Like for example, the autonomy movement in most of the part of the northeastern state, the autonomy movement in Punjab, the autonomy movement in southern part of India. In many parts of India, the autonomy movement is still going on. Secondly, the demand for greater economic equality. It means the economic disparity of the various regions is also one of the areas of tension and conflict in various parts of the country. Like in Assam, the Assam movement was also initiated against the economic exploitation over the Assamese people. So economic or regional imbalance is also one of the demand which the people are raising in order to get the economic equality. Thirdly, the demand against the dominance of north over the southern part of India. Or in other words, we can say that the movement against the cultural dominance of one part of the country over the other part of the country. Here we can give the example of Tamil Nadu, where the Tamil people, they demanded greater autonomy from the center, mainly because of the dominance of north over the Tamil people. Next, fourthly, another demand is basically associated with demand for linguistic based state. Yes, immediately after independence, many areas in India, they demanded a separate state for themselves, especially the people speaking the same language. We can give the lots of example here. The bifurcation of Bombay into Gujarat and Maharashtra, the trifurcation of the Punjab into Punjab, Haryana and Himachal Pradesh, the creation of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. All these are mainly motivated by the linguistic factor. Fifthly, the demand for separate independent state. Here a state or a particular regions, they are mainly demanding a separate sovereign independent state carved out of Indian Union. Like in Punjab, the demand for Khalistan, like in Naga Hill, the demand for independent Nagalim, like in the Mizo Hill, the demand for a separate independent Mizoram. These are some of the separatist or secessionist movement that also exist in our country. Sixthly, there are also some demands exist in our country in terms of illegal immigrants free region, and here we can cite the example of Assam movement, which is mainly associated with the movement against the illegal immigrants. So it means that the different regions or areas, they have different demands, and based on the demands they raised up their issues, they raised up their voices, and now in that particular prospect, it was the responsibility of the Indian government to look after the situation. Now, as I said, that these are the areas of tension, and the central government had to respond to that particular situation. So our next topic is the government approach to the regional aspiration. Now, government response to the regional aspiration can be discussed under two headings. One is democratic approach and one is coercive approach. COERCIEVE, coercive approach, forceful. Now, though coercive approach also comes under the democratic notion, as it is the last step in the democracy, but still we are confined it into two approach, democratic approach and coercive approach. Now, democratic approach can further divided into two aspects. One is constitutional measures to respond to the regional demands. Yes. And second one is the government initiative to respond to the demand. I am categorizing it, though you can write all of them together, but in order to understand, I am categorizing it. So in case of constitutional measures under the democratic approach, we can have some sub-points. Our constitution clearly stated that a state can exist out of an existing state, or in other words, it means that a state can be carved out of an existing state. So there is a provision in the constitution of creation of a state out of an existing state. So constitution already allows it. So in order to accommodate that particular demand, constitution is quite flexible in terms of accommodate the demand by creation of a state out of an existing state. And we have lots of example, like in the 1950s we have lots of state created. In 1960 Bombay was bifurcated, Gujarat and Maharashtra was created. In 1963 Nagaland was carved out of Assam. In 1966 Punjab was trifurcated, Punjab, Haryana and Himachal Pradesh came into exist. In 1972 Meghalaya was carved out of Assam. So we have lots of example. Secondly, our constitution, in order to accommodate the demands, regional demands, even the constitution also separated or distributed the power between the center and the state into three lists. Means that constitution clearly stated or demarcate the powers between the center and the state Constitution clearly demarcates the power between the center and the state into three lists, that is union list, state list and concurrent list. It means that Constitution is quite crystalline clear in terms of the specification of the powers of each organs. That is what center should make law, what state should make law. Thirdly, in our Constitution, we also recognized 22 language, and not only this, we have also adopted 3 language formula in order to accommodate various regional demands. Fourthly, our Constitution also declared some of the territories as 6 scheduled areas in order to protect, promote and preserve the unique identity of the indigenous people. Fifthly, our Constitution also provides reservation for the indigenous people regarding their promotion, protection and preserve. Sixthly, even Constitution also provides some separate arrangement like Article 370 to the Jammu and Kashmir in order to accommodate their demands. Yes, Article 370 has been revoked by the Union government in August 2019, but it was earlier there. So these are some of the constitutional arrangement that is done in order to accommodate the regional demands. Now, under the democratic approach, there are some government initiative is also there in order to respond to the regional aspiration. We can take the example of government initiative to resolve the Punjab crisis by signing Rajiv Gandhi Longwal Accord of 1986. Secondly, the Union government also signed peace agreement with Lal Denga, the leader of Mizo National Front, and subsequently the situation was normalized in Mizoram. Moreover, in 1985, Union government also signed Assam Accord with all Assam Students Union in order to bring back normalcy in Assam after a long 6 years of Assam movement. So basically, the government also used to take some initiative in terms of resolving some of the regional demands. Then comes the coercive action. Though within a democracy, it has some specific place as it is the last step if the regional aspirations used to become out of control, used to become a demand for an independent sovereign state, and no constitutional arrangement, no government initiative is able to resolve such kind of demand. The government used to adopt the coercive action, that is the military action. We can give the example of Operation Blue Star in Punjab to crush down the extremist problem in Punjab, those who demanded separate independent Khalistan. Secondly, we can also cite the example of Assam movement and subsequently the Operation Rhino, which was carried out by the Assam government, Operation Bajrang in Assam, in order to wipe out United Liberation Front of Assam, Alpha. So there are some of the examples, like in Mizoram also, Indian government carried out military operation against the MNF in 1960s. In 1960s, the Indian government also carried out military operation against the Naga Nationalist Council. So all these are some of the important coercive action or military action that government of India used to adopt in terms of resolving the regional demands. So this is what the government approach in our country, especially in terms of regional aspiration. Next important, we will discuss about one by one the different kinds of problems that has evolved in India after independence. So we will start with the Dravidian movement in southern part of India. So basically the Dravidian movement in southern part of India, even before the independence, in southern part of India, mainly in Madras, now it is Tamil Nadu, where people, they raised their voice against the dominance of Brahminical ideas and ideologies over the social fabric of Tamil society. And that particular voice raised by E.V. Ramaswamy Nekar, who is popularly known as Periyar, who even formed an organization known as DK, that is Dravida Khazagam, Khazagam, Dravida Khazagam. And this particular Dravidian movement in southern part of India was mainly associated with the anti-Brahminical movement because of the dominance of Brahminism and its ideas and ideologies over the social fabric of Tamil society. And as I said that this movement was there even before the independence, and at a certain point of time this movement even also demanded for a separate land for the Dravid people. But subsequently the movement mainly associated with the greater autonomy movement. The movement used to adopt some of the strategies like debate and discussion, like protest, rallies, seminars, like engaged in electoral politics in order to fulfill their demands. So basically the movement, Dravidian movement, is one of the best example of how regional aspiration can be fulfilled in a particular region even by following the Indian democratic constitutional setup. And this movement, Dravidian movement, is one of the classic example of how that a particular movement in Tamil Nadu basically, where the people not only raised their voice but also subsequently they organized themselves collectively and they grabbed the political power and they raised their issues at the national level. But in 1949 the DK got split up and a new political party named as Dravida Munnetra Khazagam, DMK, was formed, led by C. Annadurai. So in 1941 DMK formed, and in later part of the Dravidian movement it was mainly led by the DMK. Now DMK that led the Dravidian movement based on some of the key issues. Number one, the dominance of Brahminism or Brahminical ideas over the social fabric of Tamil society. So they opposed the dominance of Brahminism and the dominance of north over the southern part of India. Secondly, the DMK protested against the change of railway station of Kallikudi railway station, which renamed as Dalmiapuram. And Dalmiapuram was a North Indian business house. So obviously that sparked the South Indian people, especially the Tamil people, as they protested against that particular change of the Kallikudi railway station, and they demanded to restore that Kallikudi railway station. So that was the second instance. Thirdly, the DMK raised its voice against the dominance of Brahminical ideas in the statecraft education. They opposed the dominance of Brahminism even in the educational curriculum. So they demanded that more and more Tamil culture, Tamil language, Tamil history to be promoted in the educational curriculum. And lastly, the DMK also protested against the imposition of Hindi as an official language after the 1963 Official Language Act. Here I would like to mention that this particular anti-Hindi agitation after 1963, it was a turning point for the rise of DMK in Indian politics. Because after this anti-Hindi agitation led by the DMK in the southern part of India, it could able to mold the public opinion in Tamil Nadu. And not only mold the public opinion, it organized collectively. It collectively organized the people of Tamil. And it also could able to organize them under their own political framework. And in 1967, in the both general election as well as in the assembly election, DMK clean swept the election of 1967. And that was a huge turning for a particular region, because it was for the first time in a particular state or a region, the Congress party was completely wiped out from the election. And that is the beginning of DMK. And from 1967, DMK has been playing a very significant role in the electoral politics of Tamil Nadu. In the later period in 1972, DMK also got split up as a new political party formed out of this DMK, that is known as AIA-DMK, that is All India Anna Dravida Munnetro Khazagam. DMK is same, you just put All India Anna. Now, after formation of AIDMK, that was led by Ramachandran, M.G. Ramachandran. Now, this AIDMK, they claimed the legacy of the Dravidian movement in the later part. In the 1990s, the DMK and AIDMK that have got so many have split, as many political parties emerged, as in Tamil Nadu, numbers of political parties emerged. There is a DMDK is there. There are other political parties are also there. So since 1960s, this DMK has been playing a significant role in the electoral politics, and now AIA-DMK, and we know that both the political parties are having a very strong hold in the electoral politics of Tamil Nadu. Now, in that particular background, as I said, that in that particular situation, what is very important here is that how a particular region that can organize its masses under a political framework, and not only organize its political framework, but also it could establish its dominance in its own region and challenged the Indian National Congress at that point of time. And not only in this perspective, it also very significant that at that point of time, the DMK and AIA-DMK, they completely dominated the electoral politics in Tamil Nadu, and they subsequently could able to grab the attention of the Tamil people, and this ultimately a classic example of how a particular regional demands can be put forward at the national level in an organized way, that as we have seen in case of Tamil Nadu. So this is one of the very significant topic in the chapter, the Dravidian movement. Next class we will continue with the other topics, like we have Jammu and Kashmir, we have Punjab, we have northeastern states. Hope we have liked it. We will continue these things in the next chapter.